My jealous brother couldn't handle his envy and slept with my fiancée just after our engagement. I was devastated, but I didn't stay silent. I told my family everything. When the truth came out, they were shocked and completely cut him off. He didn't just destroy my life. He severed his own bond with the people who loved him, all for a fleeting betrayal that ultimately cost him his family. I got a photo from my brother showing my fiance's underwear on his bed. It was the night after our engagement. I gripped my phone so hard it nearly cracked. Riley and I had been together for almost 3 years, and I thought I knew her better than anyone. I was wrong. I'm 23, the younger son in the family, raised without a father. Grayson, my older brother, 27, was always the golden child, mom's favorite. Athletic, charming, successful, until he tanked his own business and moved back in with her. I was the shadow trailing behind him. My whole life I heard how great he was and how far I had to go to catch up. My mom raised us alone, tired, stern, always focused on bills, food, work, school. My uncle, my dad's brother, was the closest thing I had to a father figure. He helped me get into college out of state when mom said we couldn't afford it. That's where I changed. I graduated with honors, got hired by an architecture firm, and met the girl I fell hard for. Riley was my first real relationship, the first time someone chose me. We moved in together after a year, and for once I felt like I had control over my life. Last week I proposed to her in my uncle's backyard during his birthday dinner. Everyone was thrilled. Everyone except Grayson. He left right after Riley said yes. I noticed it, but didn't think much of it. Now I regret that. That night, Riley was texting someone. I woke up by chance and asked who. She said she was messaging her friends about the engagement. I believed her. 2 days later, Grayson sent me messages, screenshots, flirting, clear plans, and the photo. I nearly blacked out. Everything, my childhood in his shadow, my years trying to become someone, to matter, collapsed. All that was left was silence. I don't remember how I got home. I just remember leaving work, turning off my phone, and practically running through the streets, gripping my keys in my pocket like they could somehow hold together what was breaking inside. On the elevator ride up, I stared at the floor and kept repeating one thing over and over. It's not her. It's just a coincidence. But I already knew. First thing I did when I got in was change the locks. Then I packed her things, coldly, mechanically. I wasn't thinking. I just moved, like I was cleaning the apartment, not throwing someone out of my life. When everything was boxed up, I placed it by the door. I texted her, I know you slept with Grayson. Your stuff is by the door. Don't come back. And then I blocked her. At that moment, all I felt was nausea, no tears, no rage, just a heavy, hollow void. Half an hour later, she was at the door, first ringing, then knocking, then begging. She said she'd explain, that it was a mistake, that she didn't know how it happened. I just sat on the floor, leaning against the wall, staring at the ceiling. I heard every word, every sob, but I couldn't move. An hour later, she left. I still didn't move. I ordered food but couldn't eat a single bite. I just lay there in the dark until morning. And only then, for the first time all night, something kicked in. Anger. I grabbed my phone and forwarded the screenshots to my whole family. No explanations. No comments. Just one line. Here's what my brother did. Then I shut my phone off. I didn't care how they'd react. I just needed someone else to see what I was carrying. For someone, anyone, to understand why I couldn't stay silent anymore. The next morning, my phone was flooded with notifications. The first were from cousins. Short, dry messages like, stay strong, shocking, unbelievable. Then came my uncle. He called 6 times in a row. And then my mom. I knew her reaction would be different. She was the one I feared hearing not sympathy but blame from. I wasn't wrong. She showed up unannounced, as if nothing had happened. I opened the door in silence. She walked into the kitchen like she owned the place, sat down and said, you acted too harshly. Not, how are you feeling? Not, I'm here for you, but too harshly. I sat across from her, trying not to explode. She went on, Grayson's already at rock bottom. He lost everything, his job, his money, people's respect, and now his family too. I stayed quiet, but I was burning inside. She called him a victim, as if he hadn't destroyed my relationship but merely spilled water on the floor. I asked, are you seriously trying to justify him right now? She paused for a second, then said, I'm not justifying, but you have to understand, he was in crisis. He was hurting, and you just dumped all of this on the family. You exposed him. That's when I lost it. I stood up and said, if I had done the same thing, slept with his fiancée, would you be defending me? She didn't answer, just looked down. That was worse than any no. I realized everything in her mind had been decided long ago. Grayson was the favorite, always had been. I was the outsider, and for the first time I said it out loud. You've always loved him more. She stood up and left, didn't slam the door, just walked out. And I sat there alone in the kitchen, staring at two untouched cups of coffee. And I realized we didn't just fight, we broke. The last thing I expected during my shift was to get a series of messages from Adam. We hadn't spoken in ages. I thought he'd blocked me for good. But there they were, screenshots of a conversation between him and Riley. Messages that made me stop breathing. Flirting, plans to meet, explicit intentions. I stood frozen, phone in hand, while my coworkers moved around me like nothing had changed. Adam congratulated her on our engagement. She asked why he left so early from the party. He said he felt out of place, that we were never close and he didn't want to intrude. He played the hurt little brother card, trying to look noble while crawling into her head. Riley fell for it. She told him he'd find someone, that he deserved love too. Then she apologized on our behalf for making him feel excluded. She called me a good person. That's what killed me. She reassured him while erasing what we had. Adam said no one could compare to her, that he wasn't even going to try. Then it turned flirty. Then it turned dirty. And then they made plans to see each other. She told me that next night she was staying at her friend's place to celebrate. I believed her. But now I was staring at a photo of her hoodie and jeans crumpled on Adam's bed. He sent that too. No words, just the picture. I left work early, numb and barely functioning. I drove straight home. I didn't cry until I was alone in the hallway, trying to unlock the front door. And when I did, I cried hard. I changed the locks that evening, packed all her things into boxes, put them outside by the door. I didn't want to hear excuses. I didn't want a confrontation. Not after what she did. I texted her one message. I know what you did with Adam. I don't ever want to see you again. Your stuff is outside. Don't come in. We're done. I blocked her number and sat in silence for what felt like hours. I don't know what hurt more, losing her or the fact that it had been him. She knew how much pain he caused me. She saw it firsthand, and still she chose him. I was so broken I couldn't even feel anger. Just that sick, hollow ache that doesn't go away. When I woke up the next morning, the box with her things was still sitting by the door. She was gone, and the silence in the house was heavier than any shouting could have been. I didn't eat, didn't wash, just sat on the floor holding my phone, staring at the same screenshots that changed everything. I kept rereading every line, every disgusting phrase between them, like I was trying to convince myself it was real, that I hadn't made it all up in a drunken haze. But it was real, the ugliest kind of real. I wanted to let the pain out, but I didn't know how. I thought about calling my mom, telling her everything, but I knew exactly how that would go. She'd defend Adam because to her, he'd always be the golden child. I thought about just bearing it, cutting them both out of my life and moving on, but something boiled inside me. Not just because of the betrayal, but because of my whole damn life in his shadow. He's always gotten what he wanted, and no one ever made him answer for it. And now, he ruins my relationship, and I'm supposed to stay silent again? Something snapped inside me. I opened the family group chat and, without a single word, attached the screenshots. A few of them. I picked the most obvious ones, the ones that left no room for interpretation. I typed only one line. This is what Adam did. Then I turned off my phone. I didn't know how the family would react. I didn't ask them to take sides, but if they cared at all, they'd draw their own conclusions. I lay down on the couch, unable to think or feel. There was nothing left in me, but for the first time, there was a strange calm, like I had finally done something for myself, not to save face, not to avoid upsetting Mom, just for me. I just wanted the truth out, just once, without filters, without excuses. Just once for me not to hide in the shadows. My phone started buzzing in the evening, but I didn't turn it on. I knew they had seen it. I knew what would come next wouldn't be pain, it would be hypocrisy. I only turned it back on the next morning and saw dozens of messages. My aunts, cousins, my uncle. They all expressed support. Almost everyone said the same things. We're shocked. You didn't deserve this. If you need anything, we're here. Some said they would never speak to Adam again. It felt strange to have people on my side after spending years in someone else's shadow. But there was also silence. Mom, not a word, no call, no message. A day later, she showed up at my door. She stood there like nothing had happened. She said, "We need to talk." I let her in without a word. She sat at the table, folded her hands, and didn't start with an apology, but with blame. She said I shouldn't have exposed it to the whole family like that I put her in an awkward position, that I damaged Adam's reputation. I sat there listening, something breaking inside me. I asked her, "Do you really think this is my fault?" She said, "I think you both made mistakes." I simply stood up and pointed at the door. I didn't yell, didn't argue, didn't even look at her. She left, and I knew that was the end. Mom had picked a side, again. I didn't try to explain anything after that. No texts, no calls. I only had my uncle left. He called that night and said he was proud of me. Said he always knew who the real strong one in this family was. His words didn't fix me, but they warmed something in me. I decided I wouldn't wait for apologies anymore. Not from Adam, not from Riley, not from Mom. If they ever came, it would be too late. The next day, Riley texted again. First something vague about a mistake, then a long message asking me to hear her out. I didn't reply, but I kept replaying the moment she lied to my face, sitting in bed texting him, saying she loved me, then sleeping with my brother hours later. I blocked her again, this time for good. It's been a few days since I completely cut off all communication with my mother. Not because I lack compassion, but because I'm tired of being the only one who's expected to forgive everything and swallow humiliation. Adam didn't just sleep with my fiancée, he did it the day after our engagement, with the clear intent to hurt me, knowing exactly how much it meant. He even sent me proof, like he wanted to finish me off. And despite all that, my mom still took his side again and again, like he's the victim, not me. I don't want to fight for anyone's validation anymore. I made it through on my own without their support, and now I feel free. Riley doesn't text anymore. I guess she finally realized there's no way back. She made her choice, and I made mine. I've already packed and moved into a new apartment, far away from the area where everything reminded me of her. I have a new life now. I've started going back to the gym, signed up for classes, and I spend more time with the friends I made after college. These people know me as I am today, not as the timid kid in his older brother's shadow. My uncle is still the only family member I stay close with. He told me one simple thing. You acted like a grown man. You didn't take revenge. You just left a life where you weren't valued. Those words helped me finally let go. I don't wish harm on Adam or my mom. Let them live their lives however they want, but I won't let them be part of my world anymore. And you know what? I don't feel empty. I feel relieved, because sometimes to truly start living, you have to burn it all down and walk out of the ashes a different person.